Internet Jam. Welcome to Talking Fitness here with Miami Community News. I'm your host, Omar Cordero, and today we have a special guest, Rene Ruiz. I have invited him over to the show because, again, I would like to show working professionals that there is so much out there in terms of fitness and how you can do it day to day. I want to start with Rene, just introducing yourself, who you are. I've known you for some time as well, and so the viewers have an idea on a little bit of your background as a professional.
Thank you, Omar. It's my pleasure to be here with you. As you know, I'm 43 years old. I've been an attorney since I was 23 years old, so I've been a lawyer for 20 years now. I'm a shareholder and a director at Stearns Weaver Miller. I'm a labor law attorney. About 10 years ago, I founded a charter school in Miami called SLAM, Sports Leadership Arts and Management. It did very well, and over the last 10 years, we've scaled it to the point where we've got 11 campuses around the country in different states. So, as you know, I'm really busy, and you have really been instrumental in helping me stay fit.
Little by little, and that's one of the most important parts, because he said something that really drives home to a lot of people. He's really busy. Most of us are busy, especially as professionals. I mean, from the moment we wake up, and even if you have kids, it makes it even harder. But from the moment you wake up, it's just constant grind. It's the schedule. You're living and dying by that schedule. So with that, how do you really incorporate health and wellness into that equation? That's always the secret. How do you do that? And some people can do it, and some people have a really hard time. Now, talk to us a little bit about when when there was a time that you struggled with weight a little bit, because I remember when I met you years back, and kind of what was that catalyst? What happened? Because I mean, there must have been some epiphany or something that happened, says, I need to do something because I just can't continue like this. So just talk to us a little bit about that. What was kind of the that push?
Well, I think that when I started as an attorney, one of the things that I learned really quickly is that I had lost control over my time, especially in the beginning when I didn't have my own clients. I was working very long hours in a very demanding profession, and I didn't have a lot of spare time, and I didn't really have a lot of control over my time, so I couldn't really schedule. I had always worked out. I had always done well eating. I had always been what I considered fit, and that sort of started lagging, I would say, in 2007, 2008, 2009. In 2009, I started going back to the gym, and that's where I met you. I actually met you here in South Miami at the LA Fitness in
that's right,
in Sunset Place. And I met you through a friend who I was working out with, who wasn't very consistent in going to the workouts. I met you, and very quickly, you were always there. You got my number. You started texting me to find out what I was eating, I was doing. You seem to care more about my workouts than I did. And that, one of the things that you taught me early on, which is absolutely true, which is that it doesn't matter how busy you are, you make time for the things that are important. Yeah. And life, really, that's one of the key skills in life, is trying to make sure that you always make the time for the things you consider important. So the question is, what do you consider important? And at that point is when I shifted, I guess at that point I was in my early 30s, and starting to notice, my metabolism wasn't as quick as it used to be. I couldn't just decide I was going to lose 10 pounds in a week.
Yep.
And I started feeling like, if you're not going forward, now you're actually moving backwards. If you eat poorly for an extended period of time, now you're going to gain weight. It's going to be even harder to put it off. So right around there, very soon after I met you and we started working out religiously, is when I said, listen, this has to be a priority in my life. And it's been a priority since then. I mean, I guess it's been 12, 13 years.
My God, it's been that long already. Oh.
And I mean, since that moment, I mean, I very quickly got into shape, and I've been in the shape I want to be in since then. So I mean, I definitely credit you for that change.
No, thank you. But it's really interesting, because you kind of see how most clients, when they come on board, they have this hard time, right? They need that accountability. And this is something that I want the viewers really to understand, is mindset is the biggest key to all this. Everyone gets so caught up on the fitness aspect, on the nutritional aspect. That stuff means nothing. It means nothing unless we have the mindset in play. So you actually do something pretty interesting that most of my clients do, and I think, and it's still a challenge day to day. I've been trying my best over time to hone in on this. Is now you're texting me, you're reaching out to me on days going, hey, when can we work out? When can we get something in? When can I do that training camp? And I already know when I have someone in that zone and that capacity, their mindset is now shifted. With that mindset shift, the rest is history. Because now it's like that fire within that really pushes that individual. So now not only do they have the accountability of the trainer or the fitness professional, but now they have that fire within connected, and it's like the perfect recipe. And that's where the success really starts to happen. There's stories. I mean, on a Sunday, I mean, I could get a text, and we live relatively close. Hey, what can we meet and do some stairs in the stairwell on a building here near South Miami? And we're like, absolutely, let's go. And it's that desire, it's that drive. So, the hardest part of all this is making the first step.
Right. You got to make the commitment. And then, I'm a very results oriented person. My job demands results. I get paid to deliver results. So when I see results, I get excited. Right. So very early on, one of the other things that I focused on, it's not just going to the gym, but it's what you do with your diet. I mean, that makes such a huge difference, especially again, as our metabolism slow down. So, I mean, you help me with my diet, getting on the diet, making sure that I work out enough during the week. I don't have time to work out every day, which is why I reach out to you, because if I could get you to work out with me 1 day a week, I mean, I couldn't do that 3 days or 4 days by myself, what the results I get in 1 day. So, I mean, the mindset where I'm at now is I know, I have a rough schedule of what I want to accomplish fitness wise during the week. I try to get as much of that as I can by myself. I have a gym in my office. But I know that if I can get you 1 or 2 days, I mean, that's going to be, there's no way I could have done that on my own. So, I mean, to me, that's, now we've been pretty religiously working out on Thursdays, and Sundays are always easier for me. So, I mean, if I knock those 2 out of the week, I know that I had a great week.
And that's the key, because a lot of times people like to schedule whenever they find the time. And that's what makes it very difficult. Oh, I might have some time on a Thursday at 5:00, or maybe I could do 6:00. The best recipe for success is already to have a time slot that's your time. And this is what I tell people all the time, and they start laughing. And most of your viewers, when you hear this, you're probably going to chuckle when I tell you this, is if you're making appointments with clients, with your doctor, with anything, why can't you make an appointment with yourself? I mean, it's as crazy as that sounds. When you're looking at your timeline, your schedule, I mean, make an appointment with yourself. That hour is your appointment time, and it will really start to put you in that path. So a lot of the times is what I tell clients is find a space in your timeline, in your day-to-day timeline. So let's say if it's 5:00 in the afternoon, you got to run to that appointment, because this is probably the most important appointment, is the foundation of everything, which is you. If you're not running at 100% capacity, if you're not, your energy is not off the roof, you're not going to function, and everything else will fall apart. One important thing that I also, hone in with many clients and people that I talk to is that just like a power plant, we are a power plant. We just don't have energy. We just don't wake up with energy. We make the energy. We have to make the energy. And how do we make the energy? Is obviously with the nutrition, with sometimes caffeine helps, I'll tell you that. But the nutrition, the exercise, everything that comes into play to make the energy, even your mindset comes into play. All this is critical, because if you're a high performer from a professional level, always the hardest part is how do you align high performance on a physical level with an individual whose mental capacity is running at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So it's that whole connection. That's always when you have that, oh man, you're a powerhouse. And it's really to get there. And most of us are thinking about this day to day. I mean, I don't know, when you wake up in the morning, do you think, man, when am I going to get my exercise in? When am I going to get this in? Most of us don't, but I mean,
I try to plan it in the beginning of the week and try to set a vision of, these are the things I'm trying to accomplish. And whenever I have a moment to do it, I'll do it. It's hard for me to know on a day-to-day basis that I'm going to work out at 7 or I'm going to work out at 8. But the day before, I'll know and say, listen, I got a window of time here. I'll go to my office and go to the gym, or I'll find the time to do it. Or another thing I do every single day is sit-ups and push-ups every single day, so that even if I have a day that I didn't go to the gym, I at least did that. But it's incredible how when you're doing your diet and you are achieving your fitness goals of what you're going to do, everything falls into place. I feel efficient. I don't really sleep a lot. I go to sleep around 11. I wake up at 5:15. I never lack energy. I have energy at all times. I feel good. I feel optimistic. I feel ready to tackle any problem, because nothing feels better than going and buying clothes and having everything you want to fit right, and going into your closet and knowing that everything fits. And it's a great feeling. So it really does all come together, and the foundation really of almost everything else that flows around my life is eating right, and getting that exercise in.
Hands down. Even when you look good and you feel good, your confidence, everything just kind of transpires to all of this. And you mentioned something pretty interesting, is that even the days you can't get to the gym or any of that, you get some basic movements like push-ups, sit-ups, or whatever the case is, even at a certain time. And that's key, because it takes about 6 weeks really to create a habit. And from my experience, it takes about 3 to 4 months to solidify it, in the fact that if someone's in an exercise regimen or exercise routine, that repetitive behavior, that discipline really becomes this habit. So once you have that habit and you take that out of the equation, the person goes nuts. And that's how we start doing that little bit of that mindset training when we're trying to get someone into exercise. So the habit is key. For instance, if I'm outside of my routine, I've known to do very unorthodox things that work. It works for me. Maybe from the outside eyes, people will be like, okay, this is a little bit wild, but it works. There's times that now, and most of you that do know me, I used to be in a corporate setting working for financial institutions. And there was times that I would leave very, very late at night and I couldn't get a workout in. But guess what? I was still, quote unquote, in the office working in the stairwells, 30 minutes, high intensity work, 30 minutes. And I'd be in there, securities will look at me going, what is this guy just training in the stairwell? But I got it done. I go on vacation. There's no gym. That's no problem. I still find that time, that gap. I already have it. And guess what I do on vacation? If it's on the beach, I'm working on the beach. If we are in skiing, right? Or we're in a cold environment, which we've been on vacation before. And what have we done at night? Right? Ladies they go hang out. The boys go out and we go climbing mountains.
I learned very early on that there's no escaping the workout when you're around. That's you find the way to do it. I'll never forget the first time that you took me to work out. We actually we climbed the fence and we snuck into Ludlam Elementary School right here on Sunset. I had to scale this. I hadn't climbed the fence in many years, so we had to scale this fence, and they had these 2 huge poles. With a bar across. So we had to climb the pole. You made me do 100 pull-ups, right? Obviously not consecutive. And while I was resting, I had to do 100 push-ups. And I had to do 100 sit-ups and 100 dips.
Man.
And when I was done, I hadn't worked out that way in a long time. When I was done, I could not lift my arms to climb the fence back out. So we had to sit there for hours. I think it was 2 or 3 hours until I could get to the point where I could climb the fence to escape the elementary school.
That was such a long time ago.
But wherever we've been, you have found a way to find a punishing workout within what you found in the environment.
That's the key. There's a quote that I always mention, and I really want the viewers to take this to heart, because it's so important if you really want to make a change in fitness. Is do not let your environment control your fitness. Let your fitness control your environment. What I mean by that is that's the nexus. That's the point where you start planning that first, then everything else will fall into it. It's very difficult, but I promise that once you do it, everything falls in line. It's just a matter of having that mindset on how to let your fitness control your environment. It's like you said, no matter where I go, if it's like I mentioned earlier, vacation, if it's my schedule got off just recently, perfect example. And I use these examples because I really want the viewers to understand that I know where you're coming from. There's always something that happens every day. I mean, we don't go in a straight line. I mean, we're always all over the place on our timeline. But I had a commercial that I had to shoot, and it was the craziest thing because when we were doing this commercial, we showed up to Key Biscayne on the beach at 7 a.m. I didn't have breakfast. Normally I have a pretty planned out, meal regimen, where am I going to eat and things like that. I just got up and I showed up. I didn't have breakfast. And we went into the commercial. During lunch, of course, what do? They brought boxes of pizza. They brought all this. And everyone's looking at me like I was an oddball. I was just drinking my water, my coffee. And I immediately shifted. Not that I do this often, but I immediately shifted into an intermittent fasting program that day. So they're all looking at me like, oh my God, you're going to pass out. You haven't had a meal, this and that. I'm used to this because I've done this before. And I did not eat that day during the shoot. We left at 6:00 in the evening. Now, guess what I did? We're in Key Biscayne. The commercial is over. Everyone is running to go home. And I go, I'm not going home yet. I'm going to work out. People are like, you're going to do what? You haven't had a meal? You haven't had... Obviously, there's strategic elements that I put into consideration. So I go to the bridge. And I did my programming on the Key Biscayne Bridge for 45 minutes. I came out of there feeling like $1 million. And then after that, I ate. And I ate like 3 or 4 more meals after that time frame. So all I did was a strategic shift. I know what I'm doing when it comes to these things because I do this every day. But that's what I mean. It's just I was able to grasp that change of schedule and make that difference. To the outside eye, I'd probably look like an oddball. But again, it works. And it's something that if you want to take control of your life, you want to take control of your fitness, this is how you do it. I mean, that's something, important. I mean, you feel energized every day. I mean, it's
every day. And it's really the little things. It's really the accumulation of small steps that really make the big difference. Like I said, every single day, no matter what, even if I'm going to work out, I'm going to do 200 sit-ups and I'm going to do 100 push-ups. And it's easy because I do them right before I shower. So, I mean, there's no getting away from it. The time will be there to do it.
That's it.
But something that seems pretty insignificant and takes, 5 minutes to do, when you add it up for the week, I mean, now all of a sudden I've done 1,000 sit-ups and I've done 500 push-ups.
Exactly.
Multiply that by the year. And that's even not counting any actual workouts. So, I mean, just, once you start establishing that pattern, I mean, you couple that with a good diet, and I mean, you have to see the results.
No,
way that you don't.
100%. I mean, it's like I always say, there's positive consistency and negative consistency. So, for instance, you eat the cake every day. Let's say you eat the cake one time, nothing's going to happen. All right, it's not a big deal. You eat it every day. In a year, you're going to see the difference. Now, you work out, you follow the program every day. In a year, you're going to see the difference. That's what people do not understand. It's that repetitive behavior. It's that positive consistency.
And I find that the mind plays tricks on you. Like, you can gain a lot of weight, and you're when you look at yourself in the mirror, for the most part, at least me, you look the same. It's
That's
when
right.
you run into somebody that hasn't seen you in a while, and that they either say like, "Wow, you really look like you've put on weight," or the opposite, "You look fantastic. You look really fit." I mean, it's really when somebody who hasn't seen you in a while sees you that you get to notice, the difference.
That's big. That's big because you really never notice. Or sometimes when you look at your pictures, you're like, oh my God,
Right.
Why I look so different. So that's also another thing. Whenever you see yourself in the mirror, you're not going to see the difference. That's granted. You're not going to see the difference unless either you see it in a picture or somebody tells you. Just understand that it's this, you have to be telling yourself on a day-to-day basis over and over and over and over again. And that's how you really start to make the change. I mean, it's huge. Now, you have kids. I got kids. Now, how do we make a positive impact health-wise for our kids? I have seen, especially, with your little one now, he's working out. He's playing baseball. It's unbelievable what he's doing because I'm like, holy cow, this is not even the same person. But he actually wants to come work out, do things. My kids, they're interesting characters. Love them to death. And they are diehard, workout kids. They're 8 years old. 8 years old. I have one 8-year-old who's running, 4 or 5 miles with me, which is sometimes, not the norm. And what I've done, these are for now the viewers that have kids that are having a hard time, getting them moving. Obviously, it starts with the parents, right? What are the parents doing? Are they, dishing them off to a trainer, or are the parents actually, involved in this day to day? Now, psychologically, everything is a psychological aspect. When my kids see me run, they ask, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to go run." And first thing I tell them is, "You're not going with me." "Why?" I don't want you to go with me. You're too small for this. You're too young for this. I don't want you running. I do this psychologically. So now what happens is their failure of missing out. They're going, "Oh, no. I need to do what he's doing." So now it's like, I can't stop them. It's always like when I run out the door, they're like, "That's not fair. I need to go with you. I need to do this." And that's how I created these behaviors. But again, I can do that because I'm setting the example. I'm constantly showing them I'm running, I'm working out, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And that obviously spills out towards a positive behavior on your kids. I mean, you're a huge baseball fan.
Yeah. And I think with the kid, my son is 12. It was always easy with him. I mean, I think for the most part, he's really like a replica of me. So like talking to him at 12 is like as if I was talking to myself, at a younger age. I know exactly what motivates him. Right. I know exactly what he's thinking. And really, he does what he sees me do. It's not that I tell him that he needs to work out or that he needs to eat healthy. He just does it because he sees me do it. I mean, he's very athletic. He's an incredible baseball player. As you know, we used to go to the track and go run at Miami-Dade.
And he come with us.
At a very young ages, he wanted to go and run and be fit. And, it's sort of, it's difficult now to hold him back to say, "Listen, you're only 12. These are the things you can't do yet." But I mean, fortunately, I haven't had an issue motivating him. I mean, he's very self-motivated.
No, it's unbelievable. I mean,
but for sure, the kids are going to do what they see you do. They're not going to do what you say. Like if you're telling them to do something and doing something else,
exactly,
you're not going to have a lot of success.
Exactly. I'm just astounded. I mean, just him playing baseball. It's like, wow. You're a huge Dodger fan.
Yeah, I mean, he
probably the biggest.
He really
Dodger
doesn't
fan.
have a choice but to be a baseball fan. He's been a baseball fan since he was very young, and he's fortunate enough that he's gotten to meet a lot of players on the team, and they've all been really nice to him. So he's
my God,
he's a very fortunate kid. He got to be the bat boy for the team last year during the World Series. Like he's a fortunate kid.
That's awesome. I know this, and I'm actually really interested because I don't know the how it actually started, but Renee probably has the biggest or the largest Dodger collection. I think.
No, I mean, I've discussed it with one of the owners, Stan Kasten, and he agrees that I've got more than he does.
It's crazy. It's like half the house is a Dodger shrine. It's amazing.
So, I mean, I grew. My dad was a Dodger fan by the time I was born. Right. So I think he became a Dodger fan because he hated the Yankees. And when Sandy Koufax and the Dodgers swept the Yankees in '63, he just became an instant Dodger fan. So by the time I was born, he had been a Dodger fan for many years, and it used to be a couple hours up the road, and they used to practice in Vero Beach, so it was very easy for me to, growing up,
just going over. Yeah.
Right now they're in Arizona, so we go there. I mean, we've gone 33 years in a row. We've gone to see them, and as I've become an attorney, and I've had my opportunities through Slam or through my professional life to interact with the team. I've gotten to know a couple players on the team very closely. I've got so. It's always been easy for me to get memorabilia or to get players to sign stuff, or, growing up as a little boy. I mean, when I was 6 years old, I started writing letters to all the old players, and I have hundreds of thousands of autographs that I've accumulated over the years.
Man, I'll never forget first time I saw that. I was like, what?
Oh, players come to my house. I've had players come to my house. Like they'll make an appointment to come, and they'll always bring me something. Like, this gentleman, Larry Pittler, whose dad was the first base coach for the Dodgers from 47 to 57.
Oh, wow.
His dad was the first base coach. He passed away in the 60s, but he had heard of it. He reached out to me. He came, he saw it, and he brought me the watch that his dad wore during the 47 season, which was, so that watch timed Jackie Robinson take his first, steps in Major League Baseball. And,
wow.
So they'll all come, and Yasmani Grandal is a good friend of mine too. He's a current catcher for the White Sox, but he was an
Right.
all-star for the Dodgers for many years, and he left me his entire, uniform that he wore in the All-Star game in 2015.
Man.
And at this point, players come, they're photographed with the stuff, and they leave me stuff, and
Yeah, no, that's unbelievable. Here's a question for you, and let's see if you remember, which I'm probably sure you remember. Your first memorabilia, the first one that started that entire collection.
I remember when in 1985, so I was I guess 7 years old. My dad took me to the mall. Still exists. It's the mall where the Kmart is on 137th and Kendall. The mall looked very different back then.
Okay.
There used to be a place called Mark Twain's Riverboat Playhouse, which was, I guess, like the equivalent of a Chuck E. Cheese.
I remember that.
So
Yeah.
there was also a baseball card store there. And I remember that we went and he found a 1964 Topps card of Sandy Koufax. And he bought it. And in 1985, he paid $20 for the baseball card.
Jeez.
And to me, that was like mind-blowing that somebody, in those days would pay $20 for a card.
Jeez.
And that really was what started it all. I mean, I remember just like going to sleep, just like staring at that card
Wow.
and, wondering how many more were there. How could I get them all? And that really just started it. And from that point on, I mean, I started a collection where, not only all the baseball cards, but all the memorabilia, all the autographs. I think I need under 100, and I'll have every single autograph of every Dodger going back to 1883 when the team was founded. So, I mean,
Wow.
it's
unbelievable.
It's very extensive.
Unbelievable. Yeah. No. Yeah, we gotta do a video there one of these days. So that's
You
coming.
did one, and you're an excellent cameraman. I want you to do the. I got a new house, and there's a much bigger space dedicated to it now. So I definitely want that filmed.
That's great. That's great. So I'm glad you're able to showcase your story, and especially how everything's kind of manifested with from a professional environment. You're able to manage your schedule, incorporate fitness into the equation on that. One last thing is from a trainer perspective, right? So let's say, what would be your advice if someone right now who's listening, who's been wanting to get into working out, been wanting to get into fitness, and they're just having a hard time with scheduling because of work, because of family commitments, all that? What would just kind of be a takeaway that maybe someone could be like, wow, you know what? I think I'm going to do that. Let's see what we can kind of run with this.
I think you got to go. I mean, a trainer is a must. If you have a legal problem, you get an attorney. If you have a medical problem, you go see a doctor. If you need a haircut, you go to somebody to do that. I mean, it's to try to do it yourself you're probably not going to do it right. You're going to lose the motivation.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it all changed after we met. And I mean, I don't think you've ever formally been my trainer, but you have been. I mean, it's on a daily basis. We're having these conversations about what I'm eating, what I need to be doing, what I need to be doing more. And you hold me accountable. You tell me there's no sugarcoating it. You've told me, listen, you've gained weight, or you look fat, or you need to do this, or you need to do. And there's really no getting around it. You put me in a position where I'm either going to improve or I'm not.
Yeah.
So just from the accountability, the knowledge perspective, there's been many times where I've said, listen, this diet's not working. Get me, and you've given me diets that have been super high in protein, and then we've tried diets that have no carbohydrates, and we've done diets that. You gave me a diet once where the carbs, I would go from eating no carbs for 3 days to the day that we were going to work out legs, you would bombard me with carbs.
Yep.
I never would have been able to figure those things out on my own. So, you need to realize this is an important part of your life, and that you need a professional to help you with it.
Yeah. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that most really don't understand. And if they were just to kind of look under the sheets, they would get so overwhelmed. And that's why I always tell clients, especially when they start a program, is I will educate you, but I don't want you to think too much. Just walk in through the door, and the rest is history. That's kind of where we go from there. And I know many of you have these questions, right? How can I take that first step? Or what can I do at least just to position myself towards that right path? So our website, NFSI Health. NFSI means the National Fitness Science Institute. So the NFSI Health, there you can ask any questions you have. Me or my team and I we'll be more than happy to answer any of these questions and create a dialogue to see how we can help you, how we can at least guide you in a direction. If it's not with us, it's somewhere else, because that's what we do. I mean, our mission is to really impact the masses and make the difference in each individual from a health and wellness perspective. Changing lives. That's our thing, changing lives. So the phone going off here. So I welcome you to send a message to us via on the website. If you have any topics, so we're going to be doing this every other week, these podcasts. If you have any topics you want to know about or have questions that maybe we can talk about, please post some comments below, so I could view them, read them, and see how we can construct either a show about these topics, because it's important. I mean, if you're thinking about it, it's important. And I want to address it in some way, shape, or form. I want to address it to make sure that not just you're clear on these issues, but everybody's in on the same concerns. But Renee, I mean, thank you for being on.
My pleasure.
I mean, this is great, and I look forward to connecting with all you viewers to make sure that we're making an impact, we're inspiring, we're motivating you, and we're just moving in that right direction. So. Thank you again for being part of Talking Fitness, and I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast.